Hey guys, back again with another video for you guys, and today we're going to do my full review of the Blu Life One. Now don't get this confused with the Life One X. This is the Blu Life One. This is a 2015 model. Alright, so here we go. Now, before I talk about the device here, I just wanted to make note of the stuff that came in the box, because I think Blu is getting pretty good with this. Now, they give you everything you need to get going out of the box without spending any extra money. So what you have here is a nice little silicone case, perfectly cut to the device. Then, get some okay headphones. I wouldn't say they're good or that they're the best, but they're okay. And I guess if you needed some headphones, they work in a pinch. Now they do have a built-in microphone so you could take and end phone calls. So there's that. So if you wanted to be discreet about your phone calls and not have your speakerphone blasting, but also you didn't want to have to hold your phone up to the air, I guess you could do that with these. Again, they're not the best, but they work. Also, in the box here, Blu includes a screen protector. Now, this is just a fairly good screen protector. It's not tempered glass or anything, but at least they went out of their way to provide you with protection. So between the case, the headphones, and the screen protector, out of the box you are good to go, and you are covered in the case of any accidents or whatnot. Your phone should be decently protected. Other than that, there's just the user manuals and things, but we're not really going to talk about those. So let me throw this off to the side, and let's bring in the device. Now, a quick note before I start talking about the device here. I think in the unboxing, I mentioned that it had a SIM ejector tool. Well, real quick, I would just like to correct myself there and show you, if it's going to be good to me and come off like a good boy, that the back does come off. So, yeah. And you do have a dual SIM device here. You have a nano SIM and a micro SD card here. Then you have a micro SIM card here. And both of these bands support 4G LTE. So either SIM you put in, you'll have full LTE there. Just want to cover that real quick. Fix my little mistake that I made on the unboxing video. So that's that. Click that back into place. Alright, let's get this party started. So, let's start off talking about the build quality here. So I must say, the overall build quality is quite nice. There's no real creaking to the device. The device is quite solid. It's a little light. I'm used to Blu devices with bigger batteries in it, had a little more heft to it, but it's a little light. But it feels pretty good in the hand. That sandstone-ish material that they use feels pretty good in the hand, and I would say that it's just the right size. Now my hands are a little small, so it's a little bit of a struggle. Even with a 5-inch device here, it's a little bit of struggle, but I like this size. It's a pretty good size, and overall it feels great in the hand. So I would have to say Blu did a good job with the build quality on this. Now, moving on, let's talk about the display on this guy. Now, up front, dead center here, we have a 5-inch 720p IPS LCD display, and I do believe that the screen density on this guy is, let me just check it real fast because I can't remember. Let that focus up. So the screen density is 160. Now that's a little low, some of y'all might say, and even I thought that was a little low, but for what it is, the screen is actually quite good on this device. Didn't have any issues with the display, and this display looks pretty good. Pretty good. Now, also, I would like to mention that the display itself does get decently bright. So outdoors, you're not really going to have an issue. You're going to be able to see everything perfectly. Now let me turn that brightness down some, because, kind of aggravates my eyes. If I keep it on full tilt, it's going to aggravate my eyes. That's about good there. So overall, I would say the display is good. Now, moving on, let's talk about the hardware and software in this guide. So hardware-wise, we're running 2 gigs of RAM with a quad-core processor. It's a Snapdragon 410, clocked at 1.2 gigahertz. And let's see, what was it? 16 gigs of storage. And I think out of the box, if I took a screenshot here, which I do believe I did, it's really hard to navigate on camera, but out of the box, this is what you have available. Let me let that focus. Help it out here. There we go. So out of the box, I had 11 gigs free out of the 16. And it does have micro SD card expansion up to 64 gigs. So you can always throw a micro SD card in there. Other hardware features, it has a 13 megapixel camera with LED flash and a 5 megapixel camera up front with a notification light right there. I don't think you can see it, but it's right there. And it only has, I think it's 2 colors, white or red. So that's what it is. Now, let's move on. So, in terms of software here, we're running Android. Let me pick it up. It's actually better if I pick it up and hold it at the angle. There we go. And I'm going to let that focus. There we go. Software-wise, we're running Android 4.4.4, which is KitKat. Now, I know some of y'all might say it's not the latest and greatest, but, I must say, it's pretty much a stock version of KitKat. So you get the stock features here, and they didn't really add any add-ons. So it's pretty much stock Android, the way Google intended it. And I must say, I kind of like that. Now, I was a little bummed out that they didn't have a software update to at least Lollipop, but it is what it is. And as I've said in some of my other videos, KitKat is pretty well tested. It's pretty stable. You're not going to have much issues, and you can pretty much run all of your apps and games on it with no problem. So am I a little upset that they didn't have Lollipop? Yes. Is it a deal breaker? No. Because at least this way I know that all the apps that I use on a daily basis is going to work without issues. Now sometimes if companies upgrade right away, they don't necessarily iron out all the bugs, so you end up with a lot of glitches, stutters, and crashes. Not the case when you're running such a stable ROM like this, and it's pretty much stock, so you can pretty much do whatever you want with it out of the box. So software-wise, that's pretty much it. Now, moving on, let's talk about some of the glitches, stutters, and crashes in this guy. And I'm overall proud to say that there wasn't really much. I only had one, I would say. Now I've taken, there's a different SIM card that I have active, so that SIM card that y'all saw in here is not active. But I noticed that under heavy load, like when I'm doing a lot, when I have the GPS running, when I have a game running, and I have the data on, it tends to disconnect everything. So I'd be on Wi-Fi, and all of a sudden my 4G would pop up, and then, like that, and then I wouldn't be on Wi-Fi anymore, but it'll be on. And then it'll correct itself and go back to working how it was supposed to. Now, I'm not sure what the issue is with that, but that only happened under instances with heavy load. And right now, there's my SIM card in here is not active, so I'm running off straight Wi-Fi, as y'all can see up there. Now, other than that, I would say it ran fairly smoothly, and I didn't have any other hiccups, and the software was actually quite a joy. So, that's that. Now, moving along, let's talk about the Wi-Fi in this guy. Wi-Fi wise, we have Wi-Fi 802.11 BG and N, no AC, no dual band, and I must say, although it saddens me that devices don't have that, because at least my Nexus 4 has dual band, so I can get my 5 GHz band. Although it saddens me that a lot of these devices don't have that, the Wi-Fi in these works surprisingly well. So no issues with the Wi-Fi. Now real quick, before I run a little Wi-Fi test for you guys, I want to just show y'all some of the stuff I was getting on Wi-Fi. And I must say, let me let that focus. That focus up. There we go. I must say, the Wi-Fi, although the numbers were low, it ran without issue. And the data speeds, as you can see, the data speeds was pretty good. It's pretty good. So, Wi-Fi and data didn't have any issues. Now, let me run a little YouTube video for you guys, so you guys can see, and you can get a little sample of what the speaker sounds like. And to be honest with you, the speakers are good. Now, it's not better than the Idol 3 that I just reviewed, but it's good. I think I've been a little bit spoiled by that, and I think I need all my speakers to be on the front of the device from now on. So, let's just load up something real fast. Any one of these would do. And let me see where the volume is at. Put it at like 50%. This is a video test of the Google Nexus 4 made by LG. And I'm doing this because I'm filming some shots for my ReadyCam camera mount review. So we're just going to pan around and take a few seconds. Let me go forward some. Sorry. This thing. Takes almost all the shakiness out of my videos. And I'm actually gonna have 2 different camera samples. This is the Nexus 4. I'm also gonna be using the notebook. Alright, so that's that. So you see, the Wi-Fi is pretty good. Now, it did hiccup a little bit there, but other than what you just caught on camera, it's been fairly smooth, and I didn't have any issues. So, Wi-Fi is good. Now, moving on, let's talk about the bands in this guy, and I had them pulled up, but it looks like my computer timed out. So give me 1 second while I pull them back up. Just 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. Had everything set, but I guess I didn't keep the mouse moving long enough, and it timed out. But overall, I would say, if I had to remember off the top of my head while I'm moving around here, I would say that band coverage is pretty good. Pretty good. From what I can remember, I do know, hold on, let me just pull it up because I don't want to give you guys the wrong information. Because after all, these videos are supposed to be made so you feel more confident about what you're buying. So, now, let's talk about the bands supported in this guy. So, you do have 4G LTE bands, 3G, and HSPA Plus. Now, let's let that focus up. Find it. There we go. So the band supported in this guy for GSM and HSPA Plus, I'm just going to combine them together, is 850, 900, 1800, and 1900. For HSPA Plus, it's 850, 1700, 1900, and 2100. Now, this is important if you want 4G. The LTE bands are Band 4, 1700 and 2100, Band 7, 2600, and Band 17, 700. So that I am pretty much fully covered, being the fact that I use T-Mobile and I need bands 4 and 7. But for you guys, it may vary. Just make sure those supported your device or your carrier supports the bands that I just mentioned. Sorry guys, I'm making a lot of mistakes today. Other than that, yeah. So those are the bands. Now, moving on, let's talk about the Bluetooth in this guy. And I do believe it has Bluetooth 4.0. Yes, it's Bluetooth 4.0. And I must say that the Bluetooth ran perfectly. Now, I have a lot of reviews in the pipeline for you guys and a lot of headphones. So I guess you could say this is kind of like a little spoiler. But Bluetooth wise, it connected up with no issues, and you can see my Moto X Pure Edition there, which I'm going to do a review on as well. It also connected up to no issues. So the Bluetooth was really solid. And yeah, I must say, Blue did a solid with this device. Didn't have any issues. Now, moving on, let's talk about the GPS in this guy. Sorry, I just bumped the camera there. Now, GPS wise, it's okay. I did have a slight issue where, similar to my Nexus 4, it felt a little slow. Now it still worked, but you know, it didn't make me as confident, because y'all know I'm not as directionally savvy. So I really need a solid GPS when I'm on the road, so you know I don't get nervous. I get nervous easily, so that kind of helps out. Now this one didn't work as well as some of the other devices I reviewed, but it worked okay. So the GPS is okay. Maybe I have to update the maps or something. Maybe it was that. I think I'm all up to date though. Real quick, let's just go check that out, because I did run this a few times and that happened more times than I would like while I was running maps. But maybe there's a software update that can fix that I did not take. Nope, everything is up to date, it looks like, except for those two. So yeah, the GPS, it's okay. Like I said, I felt kind of not so confident with it. Now, moving on, let's talk about the call quality in this guy, and the speaker call quality. Now, the call quality in here was quite good. I didn't have any issues on my end or the other end, and everybody said they heard me quite clearly, didn't have any issues. And speakerphone was about the same. Now, one gripe I did have, however, is that the speaker's on the back, so this was easier to muffle during speaker calls, or I put it down. Maybe I had to turn it over, or maybe they just can produce the speaker calls coming out of that one mic right there, I'm not sure. But if it was on the front, I'm sure I wouldn't have had any issues. But that's just me. I may be wrong. I'm just saying that. But overall, call quality on this was quite nice. So, yeah. Now, moving on, let's talk about the cameras in this guy. And I must say, guys, the cameras in here were quite nice. And okay, since it's on video, well, no, let's go back to picture first. So the primary shooter in the back here is 13 megapixels, and I must say the camera worked out beautifully. And in terms of interface, it's pretty straightforward. You have all of your standard stuff here, your continuous shot, all that good stuff, your color effects, your scene modes there, all that stuff. And you still have all of that basic stuff as well. And there you go. In terms of megapixel size there, let me let that focus to get the full 13 megapixels. And then to get the full screen, this is 4:3. If you want to get the full screen 16:9, you gotta bump it down to 10. But it is what it is. Either way, the camera works well, and you'll see in some of the samples I'll show you in a little bit. As for your actual modes, you don't get too much. You get HDR, you get normal, and you get beauty face. That's pretty much it. It's pretty basic in here. And yeah. And now let's switch over to video. Now in terms of video, it does shoot in 1080p at 30 frames per second, as y'all can see right here. If I stop shaking my hand. So that's that. And the video, I would say, came out quite good. Now I might save some videos to put in my video sample playlist so you guys can see. So I might just save a little bit of time and just show y'all the photos. But the videos themselves from both the rear 13 megapixel camera and the front 5 megapixel camera came out quite nice. And I must say I didn't have any issues with that. And yeah, you pretty much get your same stuff minus some of the features here because you're using the video camera. And you got a nice little time-lapse feature here. That was pretty cool. And a little spoiler alert, my headphone unboxing, I actually shot with this camera. So I might not post a video sample for this. I might just I'll let y'all know. It'll be in the next unboxing I shoot. Cause that unboxing pretty much shows the strength of this camera. So I might not do any other video samples for this. Or I might. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. But overall, I believe that this camera was pretty solid for both photos and videos. And the front-facing camera had me feeling the same way. There I go, guys. That's me. How y'all doing? And as y'all can see, this is a 5 megapixel shooter, and you shoot it, record videos at 720p. So you don't get the same 1080p video in the front-facing camera, but it is what it is because it's a lower spec camera. Still good quality though. And as you can see right here, it's 5 megapixels if I let that focus. Alright. There you go. And I must say, it worked out pretty well. Pretty well indeed. And then, same as the front camera, you get your basic modes, your normal shot, your HDR, and your beauty face. And that's pretty much it. And I must say, the cameras, much like the rest of the phone, were pretty straightforward. Now I'm gonna skip over those last videos because I'm gonna put this one in the video sample playlist, and those you will see when I post the unboxing, because as I said, I shot a whole unboxing with this phone, so you'll see how that camera does there. But in terms of photo quality, I have to say it did quite well. Now this is a little bit lower light, and it kind of got blown out because of my screen there, and I had really bad lighting in my room. But this came out pretty well, I must say. I'm not sure if the camera's doing it pretty good justice. but that came out pretty well. More of the same. Pretty much when I was doing my getting my Alcatel camera samples, I had this phone right alongside it, so a lot of the photos I took with two different phones. And if you ask my opinion, I think this camera did a little bit better than the Alcatel camera. That's my friend there. That's her daughter, and this is my other friend. And as you can see, the photos came out quite well. And that's in my room with low light. I didn't really have a balanced light source there, but it came out quite well. So overall, I would say the cameras are pretty solid. Pretty solid. Now, moving on, let's do some gaming for you guys so you can see how it handles the games. Now, as you can see there, I don't know how well it's showing up. It's hard from behind the camera, guys. As you can see, these are the 3 games that I tested. Now, these are becoming my 3 favorites. So, that's, what is it? Asphalt 8, Fruit Ninja, and Subway Surfer. Now, I'm not going to play all of them. I'm just going to play a little bit of Asphalt 8 for you guys, so you can see how quick it loads up and how it plays. And I must say, I'm becoming quite addicted to this game, guys. Don't judge me. But it played pretty well, pretty well. Now I'm going to stop talking and let it load up. Obligatory ad. There we go. Now, being as I usually play this with the music playing in the background, I muted the volume for this one. But seeing as YouTube is pretty strict, and I don't want to get any more copyright infringements, because if you follow my channel heavy, y'all did see what I post, because somehow or another I got a strike, and then so they restricted how long my videos could be. But then I woke up the next day and it was lifted, so I don't know if I made a mistake or they did. But I'm just happy that they lifted all restrictions from my channel. So, be it as it may, just to stay out of trouble, I'm not really going to have any background music playing. Now, I might throw in some stuff after the fact. Probably not, because then that's not going to be raw, because then that means I made an addition, which is editing. But, no. I'll just leave it. I just won't play as long, because I'm sure you guys don't want to hear dead silence like that. So, yeah. But I'm going to stop talking for a bit, and you can see how it plays. Waiting for him to disappear. I was like, he got killed, but he didn't disappear. I'm like, oh boy. Alright. I would probably say that's good enough. Not trying to have too much dead space in here. Yeah. Alright, let me jump out at this jump. Alright, so there, as you guys have seen, overall gameplay was pretty smooth no matter what game I played. So gaming on this device is pretty good. It's pretty good. Now, moving on, let's get to the benchmarks on this guy. And I must say, it benchmarked where you'd expect. So, this is 3D mark. I'll let that focus. And as you can see, it scored a 2,672, which is pretty good. Now, this is in 2.2, and let me just bring it closer. Let that focus. There. So in then 2.2, it scored a 23,830. And then this is Geekbench 3. Alright, so that's 483 on the single core and a 1458 on the multi-core. And then this is Quadrant. And let that focus again. Having a lot of focus issues today, guys. Alright. Not really coming out too good on there. So just let me read it off. So in Quadrant, it got an 11,630. And that's not bad at all. And then I showed y'all the Wi-Fi stuff. And now in Volemo here, ooh, that's really out of focus. I apologize, guys. There we go. In Volemo, you can see. Now it scored at the bottom of the pack, but it was a fairly decent score, 1,236, and that was for the multi-core test. And this is for the metal test. Bottom of the pack again. Scored at 823. And that's pretty much it for the benchmarks, guys. Now, y'all already know how I feel about benchmarks. It's just raw numbers. I just like to include them because it's pretty cool to know the actual raw performance data of these devices. These things are rivaling many desktop computers. Pretty soon, even though we have it already, pretty soon we're going to have the power of one of those high-end gaming computers in the palm of our hands. Which, if you think about it, we kind of already have that. But that's pretty much the only reason why I include benchmarks. Because I think that's really cool to see. And maybe there's a few people out there like me that enjoy that as well. But y'all already know how I feel about this. Benchmarks mean nothing. The right combination of hardware and software that equals an overall smooth device, which equals a better user experience or an overall good user experience, is what makes a device good at the end of the day. Now, moving on, let's talk about the battery life in this guy. Now, guys, the battery in here was surprisingly good. Now, y'all already know I have my 3 different scenarios, and I think the video is getting ready to cut itself in 2. So if it cuts itself in 2, you'll see a slight cut, and I'll be back.